everybody. Welcome live to the Jim Master Show, live entertainment lifestyle celebrity talk show series. So nice to have you guys here watching from all around the world. We're here on the East Coast in the New York area. I'm here reporting for duty in the host chair. And boy, do we have an extraordinary guest coming up next here on the Jim Master Show live series. Coming to us direct and live from Beverly Hills, California. Very, very special guest, an icon in the industries of television and film and stage and music and so much more. She has provided us with decades of extraordinary music, theme songs, and #1 bestsellers. And we are so excited to have her here. Carol Connors is joining us here from California, iconic singer, songwriter extraordinaire. And she has penned a fabulous new book. There it is on the screen for you. Elvis, Rocky, and Me. It is the Carol Connors story, and we're going to talk about that. It is riveting. It is eye-opening. It is really impactful, and it's a page-turner, gang, and you're going to absolutely love it. And yes, she talks about Elvis, and she talks about Rocky because she co-wrote the theme to the Rocky movie franchise, Gonna Fly Now, and so many other of your favorites from television and film and so much more. So we have lots to talk about. Again, we're very excited to have her here. She's been doing this work for a long time. She loves it. And it's something that, again, just exudes out of her. The passion for music, the passion for people, the passion for life. So many great songs that we're going to be talking about. You may remember as well that she was with, of course, the Teddy Bears. And that, of course, was a creation of Phil Spector. And we'll talk about that as well. And really extraordinary stories that she is sharing of her iconic career on so many different levels. She's impacted us in so many different ways as well. She also had a wonderful, loving relationship with Elvis Presley himself. And she talks about that very, very candidly and very openly in her fabulous book. And of course, Elvis being, an international treasure and an icon. As I mentioned, she co-wrote the music for Rocky, Gonna Fly Now. Da-na-na. I mean, the minute you just hear that title, you start thinking about the iconic music. The music she's been involved in has really impacted us for decades. And I love this shot. She's ready to rumble. Do you know that she also co-wrote this spectacular song, With You, I'm Born Again, as sung, of course, by those two iconic people you see on the screen there. Absolutely. Did you know she also wrote music for Looking for Mr. Goodbar? Yes, she did. How about Hey Little Cobra? Absolutely. Even music for Catalina Caper? Absolutely. Also, again, bringing back a lot of memories, right, folks? Music for The Next Step Beyond, Scavenger Hunt back in 1979. Music for the movie Overboard. There's Angie Dickinson. She also sang the theme to Orca. She's a singer and a prolific songwriter as well. She has lots, of course, of her own music over the years. She also penned the theme song to this series. You remember this on NBC, starring Tony Randall, Love, Sydney. She penned music for Bubble Boy, Jake Gyllenhaal, and music for the documentary Madonna in the Mirror. Again, this is just the short list of some of the contributions she has made to American music and art, film, and television. And again, all of her music is still available, her own songs, her own material. She also wrote for Disney, some fabulous music for The Rescuers, too, and also penned music for La La Land. As I mentioned, it really is iconic, and she even testified in the O.J. Simpson trial. She's wonderful friends with Barbie Benton, and there's Lee Purcell, a dear friend of ours who we just saw recently in New York with Anson Williams and Sharon McHarry. They were at the wonderful venue there at Woodstock, and it was for a play called Crazy Mama, and it was Sharon's play, and Lee was there. This is, of course, our fabulous guest, Carol Connors, Lee Purcell, and her dear friend, Bobby Benton. Again, also, I want to let you know too, we'll talk about this. Did you know that she also uh, did a wonderful performance in support of the Wounded Warrior Project? And she actually, I believe, skydived as well. I mean, she is really on fire. She's amazing. She loves life. She's been doing this for a long time. And it really is an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to welcome her. She hails originally from the East Coast, from New Brunswick, New Jersey, the Garden State, but of course grew up in California. She attended Fairfax High School. She was the lead singer of the pop vocal trio known as the Teddy Bears, which also included the music icon Phil Spector, and that major hit that Phil wanted her to sing and created for her, To Know Him Is to Love Him. And of course, that reached Billboard Hot 100 back in 1958. And the rest is history. We'll let her tell us some of the amazing tales. They really are amazing. She's been doing it for a long time and she loves it. And again, we're going to be talking about her fabulous book as well. Thanks for all of the comments that are already coming into our comments section. We see that. We acknowledge you and we welcome you. Let's bring our very special, iconic guest to our show right now from Beverly Hills in her beautiful home with the piano and the books and the music all around her. She's in her happy place, the iconic Carol Connors. Carol, welcome to the Jim Masters Show. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Jim, I think you know more about me than I know about myself.
It's amazing how that happens, right?
I'm totally blown away by everything that you're showing. And I don't skydive, I scuba dive.
You
I'm
scuba. Wow. Well, you look, like I said, you look like $1,000,000. You have the beautiful sea foam colors on.
Thank you. Yes, Barbie Benton is my dive buddy, and we've been diving around the world together. And this was made for me. This is supposedly me, the little mermaid, a singing mermaid.
The singing mermaid. You are really in your happy place, surrounded by the piano and, of course, your fabulous book and all of this music. What early on, Carol, inspired you to want to get into music and to not only sing as beautifully as you do, but to pen and co-write some of the most iconic songs of our time? How did that sort of what was that inspiration early on for you to get you to want to do that?
Um, well, I usually say something as sort of silly as this, but I was an incubator baby. And I always say that they wheeled a piano, a baby grand, into my incubator and said, start now. Because I don't remember doing anything else. My mother was supposed to study opera in the Warsaw Conservatory of Music. So my whole life was, even as a child, she would sing all these arias from Puccini and Verdi. And so, but we didn't want to listen to her. My sister and I, my father was a jockey, a jockey. That's
Right.
why I'm 6'2". No, I'm 5 feet tall. And my dad was a jockey. So we would want to hear my father's stories about the racetrack. They were mysterious and they were dangerous. And my mother would be going, la, da, da, da. And we'd go, Mom, we want daddy. So all my life, I've been in music. All my life. I don't know anything else. I love it. My life is my music and my music is my life. It's something I say about myself. It just surrounds me.
What's some of the music that you've always enjoyed listening to over the course of the years as your star was starting to shine?
I didn't hear the beginning of the question. It was garbled, so I didn't hear what you said.
What is some of the music that you've always enjoyed over the years as your star started to shine?
Well, the first thing I loved, and I'll never forget this, was of all things, High Noon, Do Not Forsake Me, Oh My Darling, by Frankie Lane. That just made me want to write for film and television because it was the visual and the song. And I saw West Side Story 13 times. And my sister and I, we would we would do she would do one part, I would do the other part. Like, a boy like that who killed your brother. I mean, we do the whole thing. And then the other film that most affected me was, I loved Calamity Jane with Doris Day and Howard Keel. And one of my most favorite songs that I just absolutely adore is Secret Love by Doris Day. I wanted to be Doris Day, but I'm not. She was one of my idols.
One of the best in the business, absolutely. What would you consider? Was it when Phil Spector came into your life and he wanted you to sing that song because the voice was just so perfect? Was that a pivotal moment for you? Was that a key moment, or were there times prior to that in your life that really were pivotal as well before even meeting Phil Spector?
Well, I was always singing. I mean, remember, my mother was supposed to study opera, but it's because of Phil. I mean, he was dating my girlfriend Donna, and we were going into high school, and he would come to pick us up and pick her up, and I was sort of like the guard. So I would be twiddling my thumbs, and they would be necking and kissing and petting, and I would be singing and twiddling my thumbs. And one day he said, I love your voice. I'm going to write a song for your voice. Do you have $10? And I went, Phil, I'm like not even 17. I don't have sense. And he says, well, if you can get together $10, you can be in our singing group. So I went to my mom and dad and I said, may I have $10? My mother said, go do your homework, Annette. My real name's Annette. And,
Yes.
and my father said, being that he had been a jockey, he said, Gail, let's listen to her. Let's listen to her. Because we were rather poor. And I said, Daddy, we're going to live in a mansion. You're going to have a beautiful car, and I'm going to buy you a racehorse. He said, I really don't want the racehorse. So I'm off. So I finally got the $10. They gave me the $10. And we went into the studio and we cut To Know Him Is to Love Him. It was the B side of the record, To Know Him. And a disc jockey in Minneapolis, Minnesota, flipped the record by mistake like at midnight, and the whole place lit up. It just lit up. And they got an order for 100 records, 300, 500, 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, and they went, oh my God, we're going to have a number one record here. And that's how it started. Two takes. If people that understand,
Two takes. Wow.
one for balance, one I sang, there was not one splice in To Know Him Is to Love Him. Sang it all the way through. And guess who played drums? Do you know everything else about me? Do you know who on it?
Tell the audience.
Sandy Nelson. It
Mm,
was the thing he ever did. And he went on to have a number one record with Teen Beat. But
that's right.
Bill going up to him with me and saying, Sandy, I want you to go, ba, 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 ba. And that's the rhythm of To Know Him Is to Love Him. And he said to me, and Annette, I want you to sing it like you were singing to your father. Excuse me, to your boyfriend. And I said, Phil, I don't have a boyfriend. I'm too young. And he said, then sing it like you were singing to your father. And that's who I thought of. And I don't know if you know a little history, but Phil's father committed suicide.
Yeah.
And on his father's epitaph, it said, to know him was to love him.
That's right. I know. And really an amazing story. And to have the opportunity, he was a very, Phil Spector, an interesting person, a genius, the wall of sound, and, so many iconic artists he worked with and so much music that he left. Uh, but very interesting. You got to work with him on so many different levels. And of course, with the teddy bears, what was that time period in your life like for you with the teddy bears working with Phil?
I was going to school.
Yeah.
I was still in school. We did the Perry Como show because we had the number one record, not just the number one record in the US, it was a number one record in the world.
Yeah.
France and Germany, et cetera, et cetera. And it was like so bizarre because all of a sudden you're very different than all your friends. It's like all my girlfriends, you, you become infamous. If I can't explain the different feelings, I mean, like the different jealousies or the envy, and yet the respect, and people loving my voice and hating me, and then hating me and loving my voice. And it was a very bizarre time for a very young girl who was quite sheltered. I mean, my parents were wonderful, but I was very sheltered as a child.
Yeah, and now here you are in the midst of Hollywood and all of the music industry, and all eyes are on you. Who is this fabulous sounding young lady? How did you handle all that attention and all of that adulation as it was starting to come your way early on, Carol?
I knew that it could be fleeting for some bizarre reason, even at that young age. And I just, I knew to enjoy it and soak it all in. And the moments for some bizarre reason, my sister's an artist, my sister Cheryl, and she says to me that for some reason I was able to paint a picture in my head. And so when I look back on those moments, I see the whole thing. I see the picture, and that's why I hope I'm articulate about what I felt at that time. It was very very unique. And I was the only girl in my school. I mean, remember, I mean, we did the Dick Clark show twice. Once when it was climbing the charts, and then once when it was number one. And I remember standing on the steps at Fairfax High School, and all these people running towards me, but they didn't want to just hear about me. They wanted to know about Justin and Bob, because they were
Mm,
the fabulous couple, to know them on the Dick Clark show. But it was a very different time. It thrust me out of my childhood. And Phil Spector, and in the documentary of Elvis, Rocky, and Me, there's a scene in it. It's coming out this year, and there's a scene where, you know, his life was like a Greek tragedy, like a Shakespearean play. And there's a scene where I wept. I started to cry because Talia Shire from Rocky said to me, "Carol, you were the sound of our youth." And in my mind, he was my youth.
mm,
And
yeah.
uh, and I found that I wept, as an adult over that. It brought back so many memories, good and bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I guess on some levels he could be controlling in certain ways. And I'm a dear family friend of Ronnie Spector, who, of
Uh,
course, Phil was married to, and we're very close with the family, intimately close with the family. And she was a dear friend who we lost just 2 years ago. And of course, the stories that she shared about, I think she said it was a genius, but a lousy husband. It's sometimes that's what happens. There's a genius there, and then, but as far as handling people and different things like that, it could be very, very difficult. And he was an interesting person, wasn't he?
I said to Dominic Dunn when he had that wonderful show called Privilege, I forgot the exact name of it, and he interviewed me, and he said, "What were you," similar to what you just asked me, and I said, in my mind, as a man of music, Phil Spector was 100 plus, but as a human being, he was a minus zero. Now, when I knew him, there were moments of great joy and fun. He was just going into college, so the demons caught up with him as he became more and more successful. More and more demons came out, and his mother, was always screaming. His sister ended up in Camarillo, and it was a family that was very tortured.
Absolutely incredible. Again, to be a part of that. And once that sort of wrapped up, what was next for you? Opportunities coming your way, Carol.
Well, I had a terrible car accident. I went off a cliff, the one that Steve McQueen used to always drive on Well, I went off it, and it was a 350-foot cliff, and I was thrown out of the car at 150
Was that the
feet.
Pacific Highway or
Oh no, up on Mulholland. Mul-
Mulholland? Yeah.
and I didn't have much of a nose left on my face, and it took 26 stitches and 4 operations. It's similar to what it used to be if you look at the pictures, but it sort of it ended my career for a long time. And then all of a sudden well, Elvis became my first boyfriend because he loved my voice. I mean, to know him is to love him was the key to my entire musical, in my entire life practically. And he loved my voice. And he said to the Memphis Mafia, those were the guys that were always with him. He said, I really love that girl's voice. I love to imitate people. I really love her voice. I'd really love to meet her. And one day, this really creepy guy came up to me in a market and he said to me, aren't you the girl that sang To Know Him is to Love Him? And I went, yes. I was buying a carton of milk. And he said, well, Elvis Presley would love to meet you. Well, I took a swig of the milk. I don't drink. And I went, right, sure, of course. You got to be kidding. But I
You did a
gave
spit take.
my phone number. He could have been a serial killer. If
Right.
if you read Elvis, Rocky, and Me, the first chapter is called Love Me Tender. And in it, I say, he could have been a serial
Could have
killer.
been a wacky. Yeah.
Right. But he called me 2 weeks later. And the bottom line is, I went to meet Elvis on Bellagio. He had just finished Viva Las Vegas with Anne Margaret. And I always thought that she was one of the great loves of his life. I asked him that once. He did not answer that question. And so there I was, and there he was at the other side of the room. And I love cats. He was very cat like. And he came up to me. I felt like a little mouse. And he said, so why'd you name the group the Teddy Bears? And I went, oh my God, it really is Elvis. And I went, just want to be your teddy bear. And that started our love affair.
That is amazing. I tell you, the power of music, right?
Yeah,
It
the power of music.
never underestimate it. And I know you talk a lot about it in the book, so we don't want to give too much away, but just to tease our faithful viewers who are commenting and welcoming you from all around the world,
Thank, thank,
Carol, what was that experience like for you? There's many people out there, past and present, who would love to have traded places with you at that time to be on the arm of an Elvis Presley. What was that experience like for you during the time and the wonderful love affair that you had with him?
well, he was very gentle. He was very kind. Um, he was a Southern gentleman. We used to harmonize together because remember, he wanted to meet me because of my voice. And so we would sing songs together. And he was just really respectful. I put him through so much. I mean, I was young, and I was a good girl. I was one of the good girls. And after a while, well, I mean, he was a wonderful kisser. That's all I'm going to say. And I was too stupid. I didn't have his baby. What can I tell you? One thing that I would like to say is that we stayed friends. We were friends for till the very end, and I had seen him right before he passed away in Vegas, and he was offered A Star Is Born, and Colonel Parker
Yes.
and Barbara Streisand did not get along. It's even in the movie. If you watched Elvis but with Austin Butler, and there's a scene about this, and he wouldn't. Colonel Parker said, my boy ain't gonna play no second fiddle to no Barbara Streisand and end up a drunk. But I believe that if he would have done the movie, he would have lived, because it was his dream to do something as respectful as that movie. I think he would have been up for an Oscar. And you want to hear the irony of the whole thing? He would have been up against Rocky. A Star Is Born was up against Rocky.
That's right. I
Yes,
remember.
but I
How
do
ironic is that, huh?
believe it would have saved his life. I really do. I've always felt that. And I was so beside myself when he passed away. Was at the Polo Lounge, and this little guy came running and going, Elvis Presley just died. Elvis Presley just died. It was around 2:30, and there was a collective sigh. I went home. I couldn't continue the meeting. I was crying my eyes out. I sat down at my piano and I penned this song that is the reason that this book, that you can get, by the way, anywhere, but also on Amazon, that this book, that the whole thing with the documentary, the book started. And I started at 4:30 in the morning. I wrote till 4:30 the next morning, 4:30, excuse me, at night till 4:30 in the morning. I never took a bathroom break. I never petted my kitty cat. I never did anything. I never drank a water. I just wrote the song, and it's called You Loved My Night Away. And it was my interpretation, my tribute to what was a very special moment, very special moments in my life.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It just shows the essence of who you are and how music for you really carries you through so many elements of life and how you share it with people and how life's experiences are really, you soak them up. What inspires you to write and co-write the incredible music that you have and continue to? Is it the fact that you are soaking life up and you're inspired by everything that goes on around you, Carol?
I think it's I I yes. I mean, I'm trying to put it in words. I did an article for People magazine when I was going with Robert Culp about success. And I really believe the words I'm going to say right now. And I hope they inspire the young people that are coming up. I said that if you don't eat it, sleep it, think it, drink it, need it, forget it. I had laser beam concentration on what I wanted, which was to be part of music. It's my life. I don't know anything else. I mean, I love scuba diving, and I
Yeah.
want to my dolphin call, so your entire audience are going to all collapse in front of you. But my life really is my music.
Robert Culp, one of the great actors. Really, I've always enjoyed his material. Within the book, too, of course, we talk about Elvis, the beloved Elvis, but it also talks about other relationships with other Hollywood men over the years. You mentioned Robert Culp. Who are some of the others that have come along the way?
Well, I must say that as the other writer of the book, Steven Bergsman, who's a wonderful writer, he's the one who made me write the book. And he said, well, Carol, they interviewed him and they said, well, what did you learn about Carol before you did the book? And he said, he rolled his eyes and he said, a lot of love affairs. Well, there weren't that many, but David Jansen was a great love of mine. I mean, he and I'm going to say a funny line because I'm such a fan of hers. I'm a Swiftie, but I know that Taylor writes a lot about her love affairs. Well, guess what? So did I. And way back when. So I came way before her. But I wrote about Elvis. I wrote about David Jansen. I wrote about Robert Culp. Because With You, I'm Born Again is my love affair with Robert Culp. I wanted him to feel that way about me. And he did. And I felt that way about him. Come bring me your softness to comfort me through. I really believe that. And it was Billy Preston and Sarita. There have been hundreds of covers, but Mariah Carey, John Legend, but they have the definitive record.
One of
And
the most beautiful and gorgeous songs of all time. Anytime you hear that, it just stops traffic. And to know that it was written with Robert Culp in mind, it just gives it a different, again, he's such an iconic actor and terrific person. That's information that probably a lot of the viewers didn't know about. Fabulous song, really. And again, that's we're talking about these iconic songs and your time with all of these incredible people in the industry. With you, Born Again, and also music for Looking for Mr. Goodbar too, right?
That's one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. It's called Don't Ask to Stay Until Tomorrow. And it was directed by Richard Brooks, who was infamous director. He did Elmer Gantry, he did Blackboard Jungle, and he found Richard Gere. It was the first thing Richard Gere ever did, first thing Tom Berenger ever did, and he cast Diane Keaton, who was coming off of Annie Hall, into this incredible person in Looking for Mr. Goodbar. I love that song. I love it. And I wrote with you on Born Again, by the way, with the wonderful David Shire.
Oh yes,
Yes.
you've worked with so many phenomenal people, really really iconic people as well. Even a little Cobra too, right?
Well, that one, I'm the only girl who ever wrote a hot rod song in the history of rock and roll music. And it became this major, major hit. I took my Cobra down to the track. So what happened was after Elvis, I was going with the psychiatrist because I needed a psychiatrist. I'm sorry. No, I adored him. And I wish it was
Have you ever thought of going into comedy, Carol?
Well,
I love it.
Of laughing said,
Yeah.
You're funny, Carol. You're not that funny. Don't give up your day job. So I cracked up my boyfriend's car. It was an AC Bristol.
Ooh.
And all the car buffs. So there's been a big article about Carol Shelby in the paper. So Vadim, his name was Dr. Vadim Philippe Kondratiev. And he said, Carol, he said, go see that man and see if you can fix this car. So I put on my little hip huggers and my crop top, and I went to see Carol Shelby. And once again, Jim, he took the meeting with me because he loved to know him is to love him. It was the key. So I went in and I said, Mr. Shelby, batted my eyes because I'm a Scorpio. I said, Mr. Shelby, can you put a Cobra front on a Bristol back? And he said, I can't do that, little girl. He said, but you write a song about my car, I'll give you one and I'll take you to Le Mans. Ooh la la. I went to Le Mans in 1965, the year before Ford versus Ferrari. And I had two Cobras. The first one I gave back, and my engine number on my second one is very famous. It's engine number 2544. And that's my car. That's the picture of my car. That was my Cobra. And it had a high-rise manifold, and it turned out 327 horsepower. Carol Shelby taught me how to drive.
327 horsepower. Holy cow. That's amazing.
I know those terms.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, try to find a car these days that way. Never.
It was beautiful.
Wow.
It was a beautiful.
Oh, yeah. And I believe, as a result, a lot of the cars were sold.
Yeah, no, Ford Motor Company. It was Etzel Ford the second. Yeah. And he was, when I met him, he said, oh my God, you're so little. You're the girl that wrote the song. He couldn't get over it. But He said it gave them millions and millions of dollars of free advertising.
Really did. Absolutely. It became a hit song, soared to number 2 on the Billboard charts. And the reason for Cobra muscle cars becoming a huge seller, in fact, you're the only female singer-songwriter to do a song about a car, which is very, very cool, right?
Number 1, but there was a little group that came out called The Beatles, and I Want to Hold Your Hand. And that took the number 1 spot away from us. We were going to number 1.
Hey, if that's the case, the Beatles, well, you're right there. You're neck and neck with them. Same thing with, you mentioned Taylor Swift, because your book, on Amazon is like right there with Taylor's too. You're in good company.
Well, I'm a Swiftie. I'm right behind her.
Absolutely right. You also penned music for Catalina Caper.
Yes, I did. And I'm in it. And I'm one of the girls in the bikinis, if I'm not mistaken. What can I tell you?
That's so cool. And also Scavenger Hunt back in 1979. People
Yes, and
remember this. And
we had
out
where did we go?
with
We
Scavenger Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to go to like Idaho because we needed Scatman Crothers, and he
Oh,
was
yeah.
with Bronco Billy. He was doing Bronco Billy with Clint Eastwood, and they flew us
Ah,
there to record.
that's it. Overboard. Angie Dickinson, another one too. You wrote. Is it the theme to that?
I think it was the theme to that. Yes, the
Wow.
themes. I don't do scores. I write, the songs for films. I'm.
Exactly right. And you sang the theme to Orca?
It's called "My Love, We Are One," and
Yeah.
it's really, it's very emotional because I wrote it from the point of view of the whale, of the male orca.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's very, very emotional. I can't begin
Which
to.
I think that also comes from your deep love of animals and your understanding also of humanity, but this real affection you have for animals, and in this case, like you said, you're writing it for the point of view of the whale. I think having that deep love of animals gave you the opportunity to perceive it and present it that way, which is something very, very special. You've touched upon a lot of special things in the world of entertainment. You even wrote music, Bubble Boy, Jake
Yeah, I don't know
Gyllenhaal.
that one, but I'm sure I did.
You did, right? I know there's so many. Madonna in the Mirror, that
Yeah,
documentary,
about that. Yes, and I remember doing that.
that one
I
as
want to.
well. Yes, and
I
Love
want.
Sydney, Tony
Oh,
Randall's series on NBC. You wrote the theme.
yes, and with Billy Goldenberg and Gladys Knight did the song. It was called "Friends Forever." La da da da. I love that song. I listen to it sometimes, but I don't usually read like what people say because if they're going to say something bad, I don't want to know about it.
Right.
I just, I don't want to know.
No need for that.
On
Also, La La Land too.
on
Yes.
Orca, I did read some of them, and I found that there were some very profound statements of what people felt about that song, and it really touched me. I mean, people were crying over because of the whale, of crying over the
Yes.
what happened.
I
It,
remember. Yeah. And sometimes that's what happens, music tied to not only television and stage, but to movies can become so important. And so sometimes people remember the music even more than the movie. Sometimes, you know what I mean? It's like, Celine Dion with Titanic, that kind of epic music. And you've had an opportunity to pen and work with people who've created some of that. La La Land was another.
well, I didn't do much on La La Land, so I can't talk too much about that. But I do want to say that I watched Celine Dion at the
The
Olympics.
Olympics.
It
Wow.
knees. She just brought me to my knees. I was like, I was practically, I was, my heart rate went up. It was just so beautiful what she did. It was exquisite. And, and you're talking about songs for films. I mean, because the theme from Rocky, Gonna Fly Now, I sang on that because we only had an $18,000 budget to do
That's
all
it.
the, I made $500 up front. I bought my house in Beverly Hills on the back end, but I had five front. And when Irwin Winkler in the documentary of Elvis, Rocky, and Me is asked why he hired me, he said, "She came cheap." But we had no money. So Bill Conti knew that I sang, of course. And another thing with to know him is to love him. So he said, "Carol, go stand on an half a apple, it's called, because your voice is really a soloist voice. So stand there and sing." So I sang on Gonna Fly Now. Gonna fly, fly, fly. That's me. I'm one of the voices.
That's so
I also
amazing.
sang on The Rescuers because they needed another
Yes.
voice.
Disney. Yes.
Because I wrote the music to all the songs except one, and there were 5 songs in all, and I wrote the lyrics, and they needed a voice, and the producer said, "Here we go again. To know him is to love him. The key." He knew I sang. He said, "Carol, sing on the song." So there's a song that the kids love called RESCUE, Rescue Aid Society. So I sang on that one too.
I love it. Did you ever get into commercials and jingles over the years as well?
Just a couple, but not, it's mainly film and television for me. That seems to be where my heart is at.
Where everything sort of landed for you. Yeah. Was that fun working with Disney on The Rescuers?
Oh my God, it was just
Yeah.
such to be at Mickey Mouse Road and Donald Duck
Yeah.
Boulevard. So I said to the director producer who had done Snow White and he had done Pinocchio, I said his name was, we called him Wooly, but his name was Wolfgang Wooly Reitherman. And I said, Wooly, when they took the first song, which is Tomorrow is Another Day. And I said, so when will this be out? And he said, in 4 years. And I said, I'll never forget this. I went, oh, I'll be old. I can't believe I said that.
Yeah.
And he looked at me like I was from Mars.
It's from Mars. No, it's men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Like I was from Mars.
Yeah, I was going to say that is funny. Rocky, I mean, how could we not? One of the most iconic movies and movie franchises, of course, Sylvester Stallone. What inspired you to be able to work with, I believe you worked with Bill Conti as well on this. And yes. What did you think of Philadelphia and Steps? I mean, what were you thinking of, you guys, when you penned such an iconic song? It's one of those songs, kind of like the theme to Jaws. When you hear Jaws, it's just dun-dun, and you already know what it is. As soon as you hear dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, you know exactly what you're going to get. How did that all come about for you?
Well, we had seen a rough cut of the film. So, Jim, if I were to punch you, there would be no sound. Okay, and we left.
More than likely, you're correct.
My house, and Bill Conti sat down at the piano, and he went ba 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 ba, and I went, oh God, what is anybody going to write to that? So Irwin Winkler and Sly and everybody left my house, and Bill and Annie and everybody, and I went to take a shower. So in those days, you could bring your phone into the shower. Remember, it wasn't like a cell phone. So I brought my phone in, and all of a sudden, because a shower or a car is wonderful for being able to come up with ideas. So all of a sudden, I knew what the film was about. I knew what life was about. I knew what the song was about. So I called Bill and I said, Bill, I said all those things to him. And he said, where are you, Carol? I said, I'm in the shower. He said, are you with somebody? I said, Bill, if I was with somebody, would I be calling you? He said, Carol, do me a favor. Give me the line before you electrocute yourself. So I said, and he validated this. So I said to him, it's gonna fly now. Because at that moment, when he was beating the meat and drinking the egg yolks and running through Philadelphia and climbing up those steps, and John Avildsen put him in slow motion and he raised his arms, he could fly. He could do anything any of us could do. He could go the distance, he could win, he could even fly. Hence.
Did you ever think with these songs that this would be the turnout, like with a song like Gonna Fly Now? Did you ever, was it just, sometimes I'll chat with folks on this show or my professional work in television radio, and some people will say, well, I like that everybody likes what I did, but it was a gig, it was an assignment, it was a job, and then I moved on to the next one. For you, it doesn't sound like that's what these were. These were things that you were super wrapped up and passionate about, still appreciate and honor and pay heed to today, appreciate what people say about all these songs and all the music. And it wasn't just a gig or just a job that came your way. to pay the bills. This is material that you really had a thirst and appreciation and love for.
I love that word that you just used. I did have a thirst for it. It's my life. I mean, every one of the songs that I do. I mean, there are times when I feel like I'm being haunted until can finish the song. Until and I don't know if anybody's going to like it. They're not going to like it, but I know that I've done the best I can do, and every one of them is like my little baby. It's just they're part of me. I don't look at it as, oh, I'm going on, because I'm doing like 2 or 3 projects thanks to the book, Elvis, Rocky, and Me, and the documentary that's coming out. I'm doing 3 new projects, and every one of them I am going to put my heart and soul in. I don't know how to not do that. It's just not me.
Full of spunk. Absolutely. Like Lou Grant said to Mary Tyler Moore, "You've got spunk." Although then he told her he didn't like the spunk, but we love your spunk, Carol. And it's your spunk that helps create all of this. I was mentioning that I was up in New York, Woodstock, with Anson Williams and his lovely wife Sharon, and with Lee Purcell. And Lee was doing a one-woman show, Crazy Mama, based on Anson's beautiful wife Sharon's. She's a wonderful writer herself too, and realtor. Her mother, and we went up to Woodstock, New York, to see Lee perform. And she's a friend of yours, and of course, like you mentioned, the iconic Barbie Benton too, huh? What a trifecta of incredible talent in this photo here.
Well, Barbie is my best friend and mermaid buddy, and they call us mermaids, like Jean-Michel Cousteau and the president of Body Glove, Russ Lesser, who created the iconic suit for Pamela Anderson. We've been diving all over the world together, and I would love to tell you what Hef said to me about Barbie, because it's really beautiful. And I told Barbie, and she was so touched.
And you were introduced to Barbie by Hugh Hefner, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And once said to me, Barbie was the singularly most intense romantic relationship of his life. Those were his, because I remember what people say to me. I mean, I have a theory: to be a good songwriter, you must be a great listener.
That is absolutely right. Yes, and absorbing everything that comes your way. As a result of some of this, you have been honored with a lot of different awards. This was something very, very cool. The 5th Annual Hollywood Fame Awards, Lifetime Achievement for music and being a composer. That was beautiful. And also Palm Springs Walk of Fame. What was that like for you, Carol?
Oh, it was wonderful. My mother was there, and Kawhi, because I endorsed Kawhi, brought a piano, and I played To Know Him Is to Love Him there. It was really great. And now I'm hoping that Roger will help me get a star on Hollywood Boulevard, because I think we're gonna try and put it up next year after the book.
I don't doubt that he will get that done for you. Yes.
Maybe all your people buy the book, then that'll make it the documentary, and then that'll make the star, and I'll be like a happy camper.
Absolutely right. It takes a village. I just want to mention too that you're very charitable, and you've given your time and talent and more to a number of charities that mean a lot to you. As much as you are a fabulous singer, songwriter, storyteller, charity organizer, and cat lover, you also love helping charities, and you've done this with the Wounded Warrior Project as well, which is beautiful. You help causes that mean a lot to you, right?
Yes, I mean, for the Wounded Warriors, Bill Conti couldn't conduct the orchestra at the Kennedy Center, so I conducted the They flew me to DC, and I conducted the orchestra. That was an experience. And then from there, I went to Key Largo, and I dove underneath the ocean. Russ Lesser, who was president of Body Glove, made this banner, and it said about the Wounded Warriors. And we went to 50 feet of water, and I was dressed as the Statue of Liberty underneath the water, holding the torch.
That is so amazing.
raised some money, so that was the good thing.
I tell you, see what happens when you go on the Jim Masters show and you become a lovety? Your phone starts to ring off the
I'm
hook.
kidding, but
We want her for this. We want her for this. We want her for this. Something that some of the viewers might not be aware of. You also, um, taking it away from music, you testified in the O.J. Simpson trial too, which was
yeah.
something.
I was with OJ, not personally, but he and Nicole both had Abyssinian kitty cats, and my
Yes.
are Abyssinians. And so the night before the murder, I was at this charity dinner at my girlfriend's estate, Diane Ellis, and it was a beautiful night. I was at the next table, and he was with Paula Barbieri, I think is how you pronounce her name. And he was very gentle and kind with her. And I was sitting at the next table, and we had taken a picture with three ladies that said, "Oh, Carol, can you please ask OJ if we can get a picture?" And he said, "Oh, you look so pretty, Carol. I love your outfit, blah, 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 blah." And then I said to OJ, I said, "How are your Abyssinians?" And I've never forgotten the sound of his voice, because I'm totally into sound, obviously, or the look on his face. And he said, "They're all dead." And I had an intake of breath, and I said, "Well, how's Nicole?" I can't believe I said that, but I did. And he said, "She's fine." And because there was a picture taken, the bottom line is I had to testify of his demeanor the night before, and he was wonderful the night before. I mean, I don't want to get into OJ Simpson.
Yeah. But very interesting. Don't you have, people may not have heard this before, but I know of it as well, something called hyperacusis, where sounds can be, a normal sound can be, like a firecracker to you, and you can probably hear the guy coughing in his living room 4 towns over.
I can hear the snails crossing the road at
Right.
night, and I'll say to them, "Simon, Miranda, quiet." I mean, I hear everything. It's called hyperacusis, and the layman's term is the inability to deal with everyday sounds. It's not only neurological, it's audio, and there's really nothing they can do about it. At the Frank Sinatra Celebrity Golf Tournament, I was tested years ago by the Starkey Foundation, and I was borderline. And as I have gotten older, I am now way over the border. I mean, the phone ringing will drive me nuts. I mean, little things. My cats don't meow. Abyssinians don't meow. This is the sound of them. And sometimes it's even too loud for me. If I had a Siamese, I would probably kill myself because they never stop talking. But they're beautiful. But
Yeah.
I'm into Abyssinians because they don't meow.
What if, so what is it like when you are in the studio and maybe you have headphones on, or do they have to make adjustments for you as a result?
No, because that's music. I'm dealing with music and I'm focused on the music. But like if a truck comes by
Yeah.
or an airplane overhead, I can hear it. And I
Yeah.
wish it's an oversensitivity, and it is
Oversensitivity. Yeah.
aggravating. I mean, I
Yeah.
have to leave parties
Yeah.
because my heart goes up and I go into like a feeling of anxiety.
Yeah.
And nothing I can do about it.
It might be a touch of something else called misophonia, which is also an aversion to certain sounds. Like if you're at a restaurant and the person next to you is chewing excessively loud, some people are bothered by that and they need to exit stage left because the chewing or the snapping of the gum sort of irritates them.
Well, it's a form of hyperacusis. And, you can your viewers can look it up. It's spelled Hyperacusis, hyperacusis.
What was it like writing the book? What was that process like? And how long did it take from the first idea of writing this fabulous book, which everybody can get at Amazon? Um, what,
Place
what what was it like? And what inspired you to do it now?
Well, I think because of the documentary that was in the works because of writing the song "You Love My Night Away" about Elvis, Chip Rosenblum and Dahlia Heyman are the producers, and I got there's a wonderful director up and coming who had won many awards called Alex Rotaro, who had done They Came to Play. So Steve Bergsman, who is this incredible author, I mean, has many books out there. He and I are friends, and he said, "You've got to do a book." And I went, "I don't want to do a book. There's a to do the documentary. I don't know how to write a book. I'm not an author. I'm a songwriter." And he literally talked me into it. And for about 6 to 8 months, once a week, to 2 times a week, 1 hour each time, he would listen to my stories. And he did his homework like you do. You really do your homework. He did his homework. And the bottom line is he would ask me very important, pertinent questions. And this went on for about 6 to 8 months, and then he put it together. This is the back, by the way.
Oh, that's cool.
Marshall Lee, who the girls were madly in love with because he was so handsome, me because I was just a kid, and Phil Spector, who drooled. I remember he always drooled, but whatever. And that's me today.
But whatever. And lots of photos in there as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank
You know, this has been spectacular, and we will definitely have you come back, my friend. You are truly a national, if not international, treasure on so many different levels. You have provided us with so much joy, so many reasons to think, to love, to care, and to smile, and to cry, and to emote, and to share life. And you are responsible with others that you've had an opportunity to collaborate with for providing us and continue to with so much incredible music and joy in our lives. And I just want to personally thank you, Carol Connors. And I encourage everybody to get the book. Go to Amazon to get the book as well, where books are sold. It's going to be a bestseller. She's open, she's real, she's candid, she's fun, tells all, she doesn't hold back. And you really are something special. And I say to the guests, we keep the porch light on for them. So you are welcome back. What are some of the blessings in your life that keep you going, doing what you do so well and that you love so much, Carol?
I think that I'm blessed because I am doing what I love, and that I'm still capable of doing what I love. I mean, I wake up every single morning. I live on top of a mountain. I walk, I hear the birds, I look at the beautiful trees. I think a lot. I've always thought. I've always been, because another one of my sayings is, you know, in songwriting, you have to take a specific idea and turn it into a universal thought. So I would love to end my thought with you, with telling you that even the dolphins enjoyed being on the show. So can I do my dolphin call?
Please do. It's famous.
Yeah, Victoria Beckham. I was on Coming to, and I ended up on her Coming to America special, and it went viral. Okay, so I have to think dolphins. So give me 1 second.
Okay. That's extraordinary. That is amazing.
Trying to imitate me and can't get her voice up there.
I think 3 of our windows cracked. That was amazing. You are a blessing and a joy. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time. Thank you for all you've done again to bring us so much joy. Congratulations on the book, New Friend. I hope we get a chance to meet in person. And I truly hope the show met whatever expectations you had and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Carol.
I'm loving it. And you did your homework. You knew more about me. You know more about me than I know. And I'd love to come back, especially when the documentary is going to come out.
Absolutely. And a dear mutual friend, Nelson Aspen, wanted me to ask something about those cat parties that you had. I think tea parties or cat parties. He says, make sure you ask Nelson Aspen. Yeah, he says, make sure you ask her about that. And I just thought of it.
Fabulous tea parties. And we would like, she loves tea. I don't like tea. and we would give prizes, and Lonnie Anderson would come, and Ariana Huffington, and and I don't mean to be name dropping, but it was really fun, and we would give great gifts, and we did it at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and it was just fun. And Barbie would do certain things, and then I would get all the gifts together, and we would
That's
sing
wonderful.
a song, that she loves tea and I hate tea, and it was really fun. And then she made the Enquirer with one of her hats, um, because it was the scene from Bill Clinton's Monica Lewinsky, and it was the Carol Weir made. And I had a music hat, but she had this. Everyone had to wear a hat, and she had this fabulous hat, but we couldn't give her the prize because she gave the party with me.
That's incredible. Yeah. And you've performed for President George Bush and so many others,
Yes.
so many that we'll have to have you come back to talk about all those, because I don't want to take too much of your time, because I know it's a busy, busy time for you. But a true blessing being on the show. You're welcome back anytime. And I truly hope you enjoyed yourself.
I did. I loved it. And thank you so much. It was really, get the book.
Get the book. Carol Connors, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
We love you. And thank you to that shadow on the ceiling. We appreciate Roger too.
Me too, more than you know.
Absolutely. Have a good night. You take care. Incredible. Was that not amazing? That is Carol Connors joining us here from her home in Beverly Hills, California. We really appreciate her joining us. This was really a very, very special conversation. She is responsible for so much music, and she's a lot of fun, isn't she? She does love cats too. She loves animals, and she even did that dolphin sound for us. That's amazing. We were just talking about some of the amazing things that she has been responsible for. Yes, she co-wrote this song, Gonna Fly Now, from the movie Rocky. Gonna Fly Now. She's got all the gold records and platinum and everything in her home there in Beverly Hills. And she had a 1 year plus love affair with music icon Elvis Presley. She talks about that in her book. A great relationship. He loved her singing the song that she referenced quite a few times, because that was a big, big, big song for her in her life. To know him is to love him, with the Teddy Bears and with Phil Spector. That is the voice of Carol Connors. And of course, she was in the Teddy Bears as well with the gang. And just so much music. Again, what about a great story that she shared with you? I'm Born Again. And Billy Preston and Sarita, of course, made that famous. A lot of others have sung that iconic song. But she was thinking about the love affair that she had with actor Robert Culp, famous actor, brilliant actor, when she wrote that song with you, I'm Born Again. So Carol, born again, living a whole fabulous life with Robert Culp. That's amazing. Music for Looking for Mr. Goodbar, one of her favorite songs, she said. Hey, Little Cobra. Yeah, just so much, right? It's really a part of our musical heritage, these songs. I love this shot too. It looks like she's ready to box since she co-wrote that song, Gonna Fly Now. An iconic figure in American entertainment and so much more. Carol Connors, exclusively here on the Jim Masters Show for live, free-flowing, uninterrupted, inspiring, revealing, uplifting conversation. There is the book, Elvis, Rocky, and Me, the Carol Connors story. Her phone was ringing off the hook. She's quite popular. And we love that. And just so many incredible stories. Again, she's been doing this since the 1950s. She's still at it. The documentary is coming out as well, which is very, very exciting. And again, she talks in the book about the times with famous Hollywood men. She mentioned David Jansen as well. She spent time with, and so many others. And again, she has her own music out. You can get that on Spotify. She wrote music for the documentary Madonna in the Mirror. I mean, just the scope of what she's been involved in is incredible. And I love this shot. This is Carol Connors. Lee Purcell, who is a good friend of our shows. Lee Purcell's been on our show several times. And there's Barbie Benton. And of course, as much as she is a fabulous songwriter, she's a spectacular singer as well. And just a beautiful woman inside and out. And she is a lot of fun. And yes, she did testify also in that famous O.J. Simpson trial, and which was something iconic. Amazing. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly did. Coming to us from Beverly Hills, California. There is her website too. Keep abreast of things that she's doing, the documentary, and of course the book at Amazon and everywhere else. Books are sold. It is truly a page turner. You're going to see a lot, and there's a lot of great photos in there, and some cool stories in there as well. And let's take a look at a few comments that we have here. Maureen says, what an amazing lady. I'm familiar with so much of her music, but had no idea of her ties. So this was truly a wonderfully educational conversation. Thank you so much, Jim. Yeah, she truly is not only an iconic, legendary singer, but she, as I mentioned, is responsible for so many of the iconic songs that we love. Really, really amazing. And Sherry Larson enjoyed it as well. Thank you, Jim, for another fabulous show and all you do for the Lovities. Absolutely. The pleasure is all mine. I wanted to make mention, too, that one of our Lovities, Leo, it is his father's birthday, Jim True Frost. So we want to say happy birthday to Jim True Frost, Leo's dad. And Leo is a big fan of our show. His family watches the Jim Masters show. He spreads the word about our show. He's supported our show, and he's a big fan of it. So we say happy birthday to our great friend Jim True Frost from Jim Masters and all of us here at the Jim Masters show. And truly, yeah, you just Google Carol Connors and you'll see all of this come up. It's amazing. Her stories about her love affair with Elvis Presley and all these other iconic Hollywood people, and just how open and real she is about it all. And of course, the songs and the making of the songs. Jane, you're welcome. And Merlin, you're welcome. Some of our regular Lovities who watch the Jim Masters show live as well. And we welcome all the new folks too. I see we've been getting some private messages as well as some posts we see here coming in from a lot of new folks watching. We welcome everybody. If this is your first time watching the Jim Masters show live series, it's great to have you here. And we appreciate all the comments I see scrolling through here in our JMS Lovely Hall chat room. Kathleen Walker in New York, welcoming Carol to the show. We thank you as well. And Joe, thank you. You love her music. Joe Popovic is here. Popowick. Thank you very much, Joe, for joining us here. You're now a Jim Masters Show Lovity Squad member. We appreciate you being with us as well. If you enjoyed this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live series, we encourage and welcome and invite and hope you will give this episode a like. Leave a comment for us as well in the comments section right under this episode, whether you're watching live or archived. Share the episode on your social media, and certainly do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And for everybody who has done that, thank you so much for watching, sharing, commenting, subscribing. It means the world to us. If this is your first time watching the Jim Masters Show, we welcome you to the Jim Masters Show Live family. And we also want to let you know we have some amazing people that are coming up. For those who are watching live, we have tomorrow an incredibly talented Irish musician who comes from Limerick, Ireland. Kieran Byrne is here, epic Irish singer and musician. He's going to perform live for us as well. And for those watching live Friday, this is going to be amazing. We are celebrating iconic composer, lyricist Jerry Herman, one of Broadway's greatest. He's no longer with us, but he has penned music for some of the most iconic plays, Broadway shows, and more, like Mame, the music for Hello, Dolly, La Cage aux Folles, and much, much more. His goddaughter, Jane Dorian, is going to be with us Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. And yeah, that's amazing. That's going to be on Friday. So we have so many incredible people that are coming through Levity Hall here in the Jim Masters Show live. Really, truly a delight to have Carol Connors here. Very special and a true legend in the industry. And we thank her for being with us. And we thank you for being with us as well. It's always a pleasure to have you guys here. Come see us again. As I say, it's always an honor to have you guys here. And I am your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time. And be sure and spread the word about our show. If you enjoy what we're doing, don't keep it a secret. It helps us grow. It helps us connect with more people around the world. We're going to go now watch the Olympics. We've been watching them, and go USA. Again, France has been doing well. A lot of the countries. It's just so great to see all of these incredible athletes do their thing, and it's just been really amazing. So we're going to go do that right now for those that are watching live. And we will be back tomorrow with another episode for you, and you. Come see us again. Subscribe, comment, like, cheer us on. And we love you all. Thanks for being with us. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time on the Jim Masters Show Live series. Be well, love one another, take care of one another. Don't forget to do the very same for yourself. Be well. Cheers.